Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you might be. We're going to talk today about something that might, at first glance, sound rather peculiar, perhaps even a touch cynical. The title itself, Why You Should Never Look Poor, Even If You Are, might raise an eyebrow or two. But bear with me, for we're not talking about superficial appearances in the way that Madison Avenue might understand it. We're not talking about consumerism or keeping up with the Joneses. Far from it. We're going to delve into the very psychology of poverty and abundance, both internal and external, and how our outward demeanor profoundly influences not just how others perceive us, but how we perceive ourselves, and indeed how the universe responds to us. Now, before anyone gets their hackles up, let me be clear. This isn't about shaming anyone for their financial circumstances. It's not about judging poverty. It's about understanding the energy of poverty, the mindset of scarcity, and how we might, through a subtle but powerful shift in our bearing, transcend its limitations. Because, you see, being poor is often as much a state of mind, a self-fulfilling prophecy, as it is an objective economic reality. Let's first consider what it means to look poor. It often means conveying a sense of desperation, of neediness, of lack. It's in the slumped shoulders, the downcast eyes, the hesitant voice, the underlying plea for sympathy or assistance. And what is the effect of this demeanor? In a transactional world, it often repels. People instinctively recoil from overt neediness, not out of malice, but out of a primal fear of being drained, of having their own resources diminished. It's a subtle energy, but it's palpable. Think of the difference between someone asking for a loan with confidence, outlining their plan for repayment, and someone begging with a desperate self-pitying air. Who are you more likely to lend to? The one who projects competence and potential, even if their present circumstances are lean. Why? Because you sense a return, a possibility of flow. The other projects a dead end. This isn't about being disingenuous. It's about understanding that our attitude towards our situation is a powerful signal, and the universe, in its grand, mysterious way, seems to respond to signals. If you constantly broadcast, I lack, I am needy, I am helpless, the universe, like a cosmic echo chamber, tends to send back more of the same. Conversely, what does it mean to not look poor, even when your pockets are empty? It means carrying yourself with dignity, with a quiet confidence, with an inner sense of wealth, even if it's merely the wealth of spirit, the wealth of resilience, the wealth of being alive. It means maintaining your poise, your humor, your grace, despite external challenges. It means projecting a sense of potential, of capacity, of having something to offer, rather than merely something to take. This isn't about arrogance. It's about self-respect. It's about refusing to allow your external circumstances to define your internal state. It's about acknowledging that you are, in essence, an expression of the same rich, abundant universe, regardless of your bank balance. Now, this idea often gets tangled up with the notion of manifestation or the law of attraction. When oversimplified, can sound like a naive belief that merely wishing for something will make it so. And while there's a kernel of truth there, it's far more nuanced than simply positive thinking. It's about the alignment of your inner state with your outer actions and the kind of receiving. When you look poor, you are often, consciously or unconsciously, reinforcing a narrative of scarcity within yourself. You are telling yourself, I am a victim of circumstances. I am inherently lacking. I am not worthy of abundance. And this internal narrative then shapes your behavior, your interactions with the world. You might miss opportunities or simply not even perceive pathways to betterment because your internal compass is set to lack. But when you carry yourself with dignity, with a quiet sense of self-worth, even when facing hardship, you are essentially telling yourself a different story. I am capable. I am resourceful. These are merely temporary challenges. And this internal narrative opens you up. It makes you more alert to possibilities, more confident in pursuing them, more attractive to those who might be able to help, not out of pity, but out of a recognition of your potential. Let's go a bit deeper into the psychology of this. The ego, that sense of separate self we so often cling to, is terribly afraid of being poor. It identifies very strongly with possessions, with status, and when those external markers are absent, the ego goes into a panic, often manifesting as fear, resentment, or despair. And it's this panic, this anxious grasping, that looks poor, that feels poor, regardless of the objective figures. The true poverty, then, is not the lack of money, but the poverty of spirit, the poverty of self-belief, the poverty of joy. You can have millions in the bank and still be spiritually impoverished, consumed by fear of losing it, by endless wanting, by an inability to experience genuine joy or connection. Conversely, you can have very little material wealth, be incredibly rich in spirit, rich in compassion, rich in gratitude, rich in the simple appreciation of existence. And it's this inner richness that we're talking about when we say, never look poor. It's about cultivating that internal sense of abundance, that fundamental knowing that you are fundamentally all right, that you are part of an infinitely rich universe, and that your true worth is not tied to your bank account. Consider the sage, the truly wise person. They might wear simple clothes, possess few material goods, and live a life unburdened by excessive possessions. Yet they never look poor. They exude a quiet authority, a profound contentment, a sense of having everything they truly need. Their wealth is internal, and it radiates outwards. They are not defined by what they lack, but by what they are. This isn't about pretending. This isn't about faking it until you make it in a superficial sense. It's about tapping into a deeper truth about yourself. You are not your circumstances. You are not your bank balance. You are not the opinions of others. You are the universe, expressing itself as you in this moment, and that, my friends, is an inexhaustible, immeasurable wealth. When you genuinely embody this, even subtly, your outward appearance changes. Your posture might straighten a bit. Your gaze might be more direct. Your voice might carry more resonance. You might find yourself smiling more, not out of forced optimism, but out of a deeper acceptance of things as they are, coupled with an unwavering belief in your capacity to navigate them. And this shift, this refusal to project an image of lack, is itself an act of creation. It's an act of asserting your inherent worth, regardless of external validation. It's an act of recognizing that true abundance begins within, and only then can it manifest outwardly, authentic way. So, how does one cultivate this internal wealth? How does one practice not looking poor? Firstly, it involves a radical acceptance of the present moment. Poverty, in its anxious form, is often a fixation on what isn't here, or what might not be in the future. It's a constant mental subtraction. But if you can fully embrace what is here, even if it's modest, even if it's challenging, you immediately tap into a sense of fullness. The breath you are taking, the light in the room, the simple fact of your awareness, These are infinite riches that no economic downturn can ever take away. Secondly, it involves cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is the fastest way to shift from a mindset of lack to a mindset of abundance. It's not about being grateful for poverty, but being grateful despite it. Grateful for interconnectedness that still shine through. When you practice gratitude, you are essentially telling the universe, I see and appreciate the good that is present. And the universe, in turn, tends to show you more. Thirdly, it involves generosity. Even when you feel you have little to give. This might seem counterintuitive. If you're poor, shouldn't you hoard what little you have? But true generosity isn't just about money. It's about giving your attention, your kindness, your time, a genuine smile, a word of encouragement. These acts of giving, even when you feel depleted, paradoxically replenish you. They remind you that you are not merely a receptacle of need, but a source of value. They reinforce your internal sense of abundance. When you are generous, you are acting from a place of I have enough to give, rather than I don't have enough. And this subtle shift in energy is incredibly powerful. It changes your own self-perception, and it changes how others respond to you. And let's not forget the power of genuine interest. When you are truly interested in others, in their stories, in their being, you transcend your own perceived lack. You move beyond self-preoccupation. This outward focus, this genuine connection, is a form of wealth that no money can buy. It enriches your life in immeasurable ways and creates networks of goodwill that often, serendipitously, lead to practical opportunities. This isn't about becoming a positive thinker in the superficial sense of ignoring genuine problems. It's about acknowledging the problems, facing them squarely, but refusing to let them define your core being, diminish your inherent worth. It's about separating your economic status from your spiritual status, from your fundamental place in the cosmos. The world often reflects back to us what we project. If we project a desperate, needy energy, we are more likely to attract situations that perpetuate that need. If we project a dignified, resourceful, and quietly confident energy, an energy that says, I am here, I am capable, and I have something to offer, then the world tends to respond in kind, opening doors, revealing opportunities, and connecting us with people who resonate with that higher vibration. So the invitation here is not to pretend to be something you're not, but to recognize the deeper truth of who you are. Irrespective of your balance sheet, you are a manifestation of the universe's inexhaustible creativity and abundance. You are not a lack. And when you carry that presence, that quiet dignity, that inner wealth, you will find that the external world begins to reflect it back to you in unexpected and delightful ways. You will find that opportunities appear, support materializes, and your path unfolds with a grace that seems almost magical. Because the deepest wealth, the most profound abundance, is not about accumulation, but about flow. It's about being open, being present, being grateful, and being willing to give. And when you are in that flow, you are never truly poor, no matter what your external circumstances may be. So go forth. Carry yourself, not as someone who lacks, but as someone who possesses the immeasurable wealth of existence itself. Let your spirit shine through, and watch how the world begins to respond to the true richness of your being.